Welcome to Being a Successful Leader with Carl Welty. Carl is a leadership pioneer with years of challenging leadership and consulting experience. Here's Carl with some valuable insights, practical and proven methods for being a successful leader.
Greetings, Carl Welty here, your host for the second series, podcast series entitled Being a Successful Leader. Took a few months off, and I want to let you know I haven't been goofing off. I wrote a book called Leadership Begins With You, and we'll talk about that here today in this episode. And what it does is completes a dream I had to have a book for each of the three imperatives I have for successful leadership. I had two for quite a while. One is a strong strategy. And the second one is building a culture of commitment to people who rally around that strategy. But as I worked on the first series, the first 26 episodes, I realized that, gee whiz, leadership really begins with the leader. And we need to talk about that. And that spurred me on to have a series of episodes. In fact, the first 9 of the 26 for the first series. And then write a book, which has just been published. And again, we'll talk a little bit about it here. And like all my books, the 3 books that parallel the 3 imperatives of leadership, you can find them on welty.com and go to leadership resources and you can order from there. And the past episodes, like the first 9 I talked about, you can find on webtalkradio.net, webtalkradio.net. Okay. Like the first series, the intent is all about providing you with valuable insights and practical and proven know-how on being an effective leader. I've been fortunate enough to glean a lot of experience, and both as a leader and trainer and coach, and for organizations of all sizes. And it's been a passion of mine. I've just been attuned to it and picked up a lot along the way, and spending my last few years here writing about it and talking about it. So that's what this series is all about. Okay, so today we'll talk about Leadership Begins With You. And again, featuring the new book and some of the episodes we talked about last time. The realization really, as I said, happened as I went through the series last time. And I'm really proud of what we have here. And the subtitle of the book is being a self-aware and skillful leader. Again, I think there are 3 imperatives: being a self-aware and a skillful leader, again, a sound strategy, and again, building a culture of commitment. So let's talk about some of the key pieces, highlights, if you will, of the book. In the book, I provide useful structures for you to help you discover, to find your real self by surfacing your subconscious, if you will, tendencies, preferences, and priorities. Most of what we do and think about and do every day comes from our subconscious. We don't, deliberately have a lot of heavy thinking about it and so forth. We kind of react because we've been there before. We've gathered a lot of information about thinking and behaving and so forth. I find the analogy of an iceberg to be quite effective. Most of the iceberg, as you know, is under the water. And that's the same with us. Most of our behavior and thinking comes from below the water, if you will, the subconscious. And in discovering yourself, what we want to do is to kind of surface that subconscious, take a look at it, identify it for you, define it, and then reap the benefits accordingly. So one of the things that the book provides you is some structures to do that. Very, very valuable stuff. And then having done that, you'll be in a good position to also discover and capitalize on your strengths, which is very, very important as you go through your leadership and your life in general. Just being able to put yourself in the right kinds of spots to take advantage of your strengths. Strengths being, again, we talked about this at one of the earlier episodes, being what you're really good at and passionate about. So one is structures to help you surface those subconscious priorities, tendencies, preferences. And another is to, having done that, discover and to capitalize on your strengths. So that's the self-aware part, self-aware and skillful leader. The skillful part, I have three really critical interpersonal competencies, if you will, for a leader. Number one is in the area of perception, to be keenly aware of just what is going on, what is just going on in the moment or in general. And the little principle I have there comes from a guy named Alfred Korzybski, is I call it the perception principle. The map is not the territory. What? Yeah, the map is not the territory. We are all map makers. And as we go out and experience life, we see things, we hear things, through our senses, smell things, touch things. Those are maps. The territory is out there. And you and me and everybody else make maps, which is fine. One of the problems, though, is we make our maps, we delete stuff, and we also push stuff into the territory that may not be there. We distort. And we all delete and distort. If you have gross distortions, we may have to move you aside a while, or permanently, but we all have these minor deletions and distortions. That's really important to understand. So when you have different viewpoints, and that's to be encouraged, by the way, as a leader, you want different viewpoints. You want divergent opinions. And out of that, you get better problem solving, decision making, and action planning. So you don't want to avoid that. You want to invite it, if you will. You don't want relationships conflict, but you do want idea, opinion conflict or differences. And so when you get them, you have to appreciate just what's going on with yourself and others as you have different opinions, viewpoints of just what the territory is. Very, very important. And in the book, we take you through a lot of exercises and so forth to help you with that. So number one is having a keen perception of just what is going on. And then number two is to be able to effectively talk about it. So I call that communicating about differences. So you have communicating about differences, effective speaking and communication patterns. A lot of that won't be new to you about listening and speaking, but I've arranged it in such a way I think is very, very digestible and useful to you that you'll be able to use it on an ongoing basis. And so that, and again, there's exercises and that sort of thing to help you with that, to help you begin to master that very, very important skill about communicating about differences. Because again, as a leader, you want those differences and you have to be able to appreciate it, A, and be able to talk about it, manage it, and B, in a constructive way. And the last of the three critical interpersonal competencies is being able to have a flexible behavior, natural and adaptive behaviors. And again, we take you through using one of the constructs that's out there called the DISC instrument, to appreciate the different dimensions, if you will, of your style, your behavior style. And we all have different behavior styles. So to know that is valuable. And then as you get involved in situations that have different relationships, environments, and people involved, situations, you want to begin to really be alert, again, perceptive about your natural behaviors and the behavior of the people or person you're dealing with. And then bearing that in mind, you may have to adjust. You may have to adapt a little bit. You may have to put the brakes on to modify your natural tendencies, your natural behavior, or you may have to step on the gas to kind of speed things up. So it's all there. So those are the three very, very important interpersonal competencies, especially for us as leaders. So if this sounds like a commercial about the book and the episodes in the past, I mean it to be, because it's really, really good stuff. And I want you to pick up on it and begin to get even better. You're probably really good right now, but we can always improve. And these structures and these processes and so forth help you to begin to master them, which is critical. Now, in addition to my own thinking that, again, I mentioned going through the first series about the importance of leadership, beginning with you as a leader and having teeing up that as one of the three leadership imperatives. A guy named David Gergen, Gergen, was instrumental in helping me solidify my thinking about the need to add the third leadership imperative of being a self-aware and skillful leader. You may or may not know, but David was a former White House advisor to 4 presidents. And he's a person I've admired for years. You may have seen him on television and what have you. And I just think he's a real sage individual. And the presidents have been both political persuasions. And David doesn't lean one way or the other. He may, but you won't know it when you hear him talk and maybe read some of the things he's done. So anyway, a book that David wrote, a recent book that helped my thinking, solidify my thinking about the need for beginning with you as a leader, is the book is called Hearts Touched with Fire. Hearts Touched with Fire, and the subtitle is How Great Leaders Are Made. Hearts Touched with Fire, How Great Leaders Are Made. And it was published in 2022. He speaks, David does, to the secrets and common traits of some of the world's most transformational leaders. And some of the people he cites in the book, in terms of trailblazers, he mentions Ruth Bader Ginsburg and John Lewis. In terms of historic titans, he calls them Abraham Lincoln, Eleanor and Franklin Roosevelt. And in terms of modern game changers, he speaks about Greta Thunberg, the Parkland students, and the Black Lives Matter movement. 3 parts to his book. One is the inner journey, your inner journey. The second is your outer journey. And the third is leadership in action. It was this way of thinking of leadership that stirred me to begin discussing the successful leader by starting with the leader, again, being a little bit repetitive there for you. Gergen states that the great man theory, which most of us are onto, is really a myth. We're up on that, I think. No need to dwell on that. And he goes on to talk about what is needed for leadership is a diverse collaborative leader, one that displays courage, character, and compassion. Gosh, we need that today, don't we? Courage, character, and compassion. So anyway, David Gergen, thank you. Very, very beneficial in helping me mold my thinking here and produce what we're talking about here in the book we referred to. Okay, enough on that. We'll mention it as we go along. And again, this will be a weekly series, and each episode going from 15 to 30 minutes. And I hope you'll stay tuned. And again, go back and look at previous episodes on the webtalkradio.net website, and then also pick up on the book or the 3 books. Okay, a little preview of the next couple of episodes. Emphasize the importance of being a skillful and self-aware leader. Really, really important. But in addition to that, we need to take care of ourselves as a leader. You know, leadership is so rewarding and it can be so much fun, but it's taxing and challenging. And, you know, it's also open-ended. It goes on and on and on. And so if you're not careful, it'll eat you up. So I want to devote a couple of sessions to talking about keeping ourselves mentally and physically fit to be leaders. And the first one next week, I want to focus on life balance, not work-life balance, but life balance in general. You have a whole bunch of important things. Think of a pie and slices in the pie. There's not just 2, work and life, but there's a whole bunch of them. So we want to first identify those for you, your slices in the pie, and then take a look at those slices and begin to really think about what's important in each. I'll call them guiding lights. And then, having done that, begin to take an assessment about the time you spent in the different slices. Of course, time's not the whole thing. The other thing is the quality. You spend a little time, but how much quality time? So it's going to be really important for you next time on life balance, how to define it, how to assess it, and maybe make some adjustments. In the time after that, I don't want to turn into a lecture, but I do want on health and well-being and that sort of thing, diet, exercise. But I do want to share with you what I think are some common sense ways we as leader in our peripatetic schedules can physically and mentally stay prepared. Some simple things you can weave into your daily routines without carving out a lot of time to keep in the game. So kind of exciting stuff, very beneficial stuff, I think. So I hope you'll join me. And until then, take care of yourself.